Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ellie, I am from Austria and this is episode number 50. Hello and welcome back. I am so glad you could join me once again. I know it's been a while since the last podcast episode. I'm trying to stick to one or two a month and I just completely lost track of time for the last one. So here we are with episode number 50. Can you believe it? It's just incredible. I started this format, the podcast, 2 years ago now. I don't remember the exact day, but I also started it in March. Like I said, 2 years ago, so that is just incredible. Thank you so much if you've been with me from the start or if you joined along the way. I'm having so much fun making these for you, and yeah, I have one finished object today. I have a lot of yarn acquisitions and a one new project, so let's get right into it. The finished object I don't have with me anymore, but I'm gonna insert a picture. It is my pair of vanilla socks. I made these for a friend of my brother's and they have been gifted already. I worked on these, I mean I told this story many times now, so I'm sorry if you keep hearing the same thing over and over again, but as a short recap, I started these in September, October last year. I finished one sock and then just lost motivation and never got around to finishing the second sock, and I powered through them because I just wanted to gift them, because it's been a while since my brother asked me if I could make some socks and I felt really guilty, so I really just sat down and just knit on the second sock for a few days. And let's be honest, socks don't take like a month to finish if you only work on this realistically, so I finished it pretty quickly as well. The size I made is a shoe size 39. I have no idea how these are gonna fit. With socks, I used my sock ruler. I don't have it with me right now, but I used a sock ruler for the first time because I don't know this other person. I don't know if it's the correct length. I also put them on the sock blocker when I washed it and it just always blocks out a little bit longer than what really fits snugly onto the blocker. So I'm really hoping that it does fit her feet. If not, if they're a little bit too big, I'm hoping it will shrink back down once she washes it and once it felts a little bit, so it hugs the foot a little bit tighter. I've not received any feedback from her yet, or my brother, depending on how you want to see it, so I have no idea, but I'm just hoping and praying. I mean, they're out of my mind, so for me that is a project ticked off and finished. The yarn that I used is Schachenmayer Regia. I have got a lot left. This is Mountain and Fjords, the colorway. I really like Schachenmayer. I like to work with it a lot. I used a 2.5mm needle size. I probably should try 2.25 at some point because that is like the standard needle size, but I find 2.5 already quite fiddly, and I have two circular needles that are, what are they called, attached, so I can't twist them off in 2.5. So I don't know if that like 1/4 centimeter really makes that big of a difference, especially with my gauge. I think I am quite a loose knitter, especially with socks, so I will have to try it at one point. With the rest of this yarn, obviously I can squeeze out another pair of socks. I only used about half. I would have to weigh it to know exactly. But the plan with this is to make my mum some socks, because this yarn is originally from my mum when she made me some socks. So I think it would be a really nice gesture to kind of give it back to her in the finished product, because she bought it, and then we can match with our socks. So that is my one and only finished object, and I am really craving some socks. I don't know why. You will see in the acquisitions part that I bought quite a lot of yarn specifically for that purpose. I think it's just an easy project to have on the side beside all of the other bigger ones, and with me going to work and sometimes having like dead times where nothing happens and I'm kind of just waiting around, I really could use a small project to work on. So we'll see what I cast on next. I'm having some Yorkshire tea today. It's still very hot, with milk of course. Also, it's the first few days now that it has been sunny. It's been really gloomy and cold for the past month. So I'm really happy that the sun is coming out once again. It's starting to get warmer as well. Yesterday it's been 10 degrees or above 10 degrees, something like that, and it's supposed to get up to 20 this week. So I'm really excited for that. I am so done with winter and the cold. I love wearing my jumpers, don't get me wrong, but it's been really dragging on, and I am ready for those nicer spring days where also the grass becomes green again and nothing looks as dead as it does right now. How has the weather been where you live? Has it been the same? Is spring also creeping up now? Are you happy that spring is coming or around the corner? Let me know in the comments. Right. Whips. I have 3 whips in total. Let's start with one that you already know. This is the Sibling sweater, my size, by Laura Penrose. And I think I joined in the round last time, or just a little bit further along. I've not worked on this a lot, I have to say. I finished the body, or almost finished the body, at least with the stripes. I want to try it on and decide if I can start with the ribbing or if I need another set of stripes. I want to end it on the white because the collar will be white as well. I think I've just decided that right now. I think I want it to be white, like all the cuff parts and the ribbing bits. So I have to try it on and see if it fits me now well enough. I am aware that it will grow, but I've had some troubles with lengths lately. I'll come back to that if we have time a little bit later, and a little update about my sweater number 9. Anyways, this is how much I knit from the underarm. I don't know if it will be enough. Like I said, it's a drop shoulder design. You have this really beautiful drop shoulder bit at the back. I just love this part. It looks so nice and clean. And I tried carrying the yarn through the stripes, but I just didn't like the results. I'm not a stripe knitter. I've only knitted stripes once before in a t-shirt, and that also didn't work out well at all. You can really see the other colour peeking through on the side, and it just looks really messy. So I think I'm gonna have to unravel that t-shirt anyways and either start again or just make it single coloured. So at the beginning, I can show you that from the inside. At the beginning I caught it every other row. I just twisted the just twisted the yarn around each other before starting the next row. But what happened was that it gave me this on the side. You can see the other colour. It doesn't look neat, and I just really didn't like the look, even though it might just be on the side and not super noticeable. So what I opted instead is I cut the yarn and I just weave it through for every colour change. The joggler stripe works really well. I don't think you can really see a big jog. It might be a bit more noticeable on the camera, but I think I did pretty well on this. And weaving the ends in, you can see I already wove in all of the ends. It's not that big of a fuss to me, especially with the first stripe, because you hold the yarn already, and then I use this technique with my colourwork sweaters as well, where you have the main colour in the back of your finger and the other one in the front, and then you either pick the yarn either from underneath or from above, so it does wrap the other yarn around the working yarn, and you get this kind of pattern in the back, this one, and that works really well. So I really only have one end to weave in when I change the other colour, and I drop the one I just used where I cut it. But even that you can get around with, but I really don't mind weaving in those ends just then and there, to be honest. So that has worked way better for me, and I'm really happy with how it's turning out. I still need to put in the collar. I'm a bit worried because it seems to be a really wide neck opening, and I don't like my sweaters to be all the way down here where you are super exposed around the front. I like them like this to be a really nice finish and quite tight around the neck. So we'll see how this turns out. And for the yarn, I'm using Peruvian Highland wool by Filcolana. This is colour number 973. It's a really nice brown. It's not like a chocolate brown, but it's a greyish brown, or like a lighter one. And then for the off-white, it's just, I think, 101, or just like the off-white colour. Together, I said this last time as well, it reminds me of Kinder Chocolate, so that is quite funny. That hasn't changed at all, and I really hope that I can finish this in the next month, because I would like to wear it before it gets too warm, but I'm not rushing this process. I really enjoyed working on the stripes and the changes, because it's just something different. It's not just stockinette and the same, so I'm not rushing this process. So that was my sibling sweater. I have another whip that you have seen before. I think I'm a bit, my nose is a bit stuffy. Let's see if I can put this tea up somewhere without it tipping over. Let's try this. Right, the next project I have is the Sophie Shawl by Petiteknit. Sadly, I haven't finished it yet, but I have made some major progress. Last time, I can't remember where I was, but I think I was debating whether to use all 4 balls of drops air that I have, or just 3. I think it was 3 for the biggest size. This is drops air in the colour wheat. I believe it's wheat, it's colour number 2. A really nice beige, and really soft as well. It's a blown yarn. It's got, I believe it's got alpaca in it. I don't have the label anymore because this is the last ball now. and I have decided to knit on it until I have the second ball, until the second ball is used up, so I know I'm halfway there, and then starts decreasing. And this is what I have so far. It is absolutely massive. This is the middle, this is one side, all this, and then I started decreasing, and I'm already here, so I don't have too much left. If we fold it in half, we can kind of check how much I have left to do. Here we go. So not too much, only like the last bit of the tip and everything. I'm really happy with how this is turning out. I have to say, at the widest point it has been a bit of a drag, and even though it's garter stitch and it's a very easy and simple process, it was really dragging, and I just couldn't wait to be back at the smaller bits, because it just goes by really like way quicker and you see results way faster as well. I think I'm a person who needs to see that the labor you put in, you actually are getting somewhere, and I need to see that fast, otherwise I kind of lose interest on it. So one night I just sat down and knit, I don't know, maybe all of this from the widest point until I didn't want to knit on it anymore. That didn't really do any good for my arms, for my wrists. They started hurting, so I knew I had to stop, and here we are. So I'm gonna finish this. I can't tell you what size I'm making. I think I'm making the biggest size. Until I really finished it and measured it, I can't really say, because I am working with the Sophie Shawl pattern, and I just increased, like I said, until I had 2 balls used up, and then started decreasing for the other 2 balls. I don't really have anything else to say. For the increases, it was really easy to see and to count the rows until you have to increase again. For the decreases, I had to use a marker. It was not as easy to see where you decrease the stitches, so for that I used the marker as a little guide, and that worked out really well. Right, like I said, it's just plain garter stitch project, but I'm enjoying working on it. I'm hoping that I can still at least wear it once, just to try it out before, like I said, it gets too warm. And I have to wash it as well to see if it's not itchy, but there is a little bit of a prickle here and there, so I do have to see if I am too sensitive with this all around my neck, or if washing helps. So we'll see about that. And then I have one last whip, and this one is a new one. I really wanted something when I go out in the evenings, I mostly wear like a short-sleeved t-shirt, but in winter often that's not enough. So I really wanted something that is a little bit bigger, and then I can put on top of my shirt, but it doesn't make me too warm, if that makes any sense. So I decided on the Tolsta tee by Clow. I'm making size 3, and I wanted to be super airy and flowy, so I opted for a pure mohair t-shirt. This is what I have so far. This is the front. It looks really cool. I've never worked with a single strand of mohair on its own, just because I am very sensitive with mohair. I can't use like just any mohair, especially around my neck. And yeah, it looks really cool. obviously very see-through, but it's very fluffy and very nice as well. I'm using 5mm needles. Working on this, I can't work on it too much because of the thinness of the yarn. It does dig into my finger and then I do get a really angry red mark and I can't work on it anymore. So this is just like an in-between project, but I'm hoping to finish it fairly soon as well. If not, I'm not too mad about it. I'm sure I can also wear it in springtime when it does get a little bit warmer, because this is just meant to be like an overthrow piece. And I opted for size 3 because I wanted it, like I said, a little bit bigger. Now the yarn that I'm using is a new acquisition as well. This is Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair. I've never used this yarn before. I've only heard great things about it and I wanted to try it also because I had a coupon that I got for my birthday, I think 2 years ago, and I was like, right, now is the time to use it up. So I kind of got this yarn for free. This is the color Deep Petroleum Blue. It's really gorgeous. It's very fluffy as well. No itch at all for me, which is great, especially because this is all mohair, the shirt. And with this one, so you get 225 meters in one ball, and I bought 3. I don't know if it's the correct quantity. I don't know if I will have leftovers and I will use all of the 3 balls. It's a little bit of an experiment, also because I want it cropped and I want short sleeves, so I'm not knitting it to pattern as it recommends everything. I'm knitting the raglan increases and then, like I said, I just make it a crop version, and the sleeves how long I want them, and it's going really well so far. I can't complain, apart from obviously that, as I mentioned before, I have to be a little bit careful how much I work on it, but it's been really nice to have something different on the side. So that's something new and exciting, and I am looking forward to I'm looking forward for this to grow and just wear it and see how I can also diversify it and wear it with different things, not just t-shirts, as like a going out kind of project or finished object. Alright, like I mentioned now multiple times, and I just showed you, I have a lot of yarn acquisitions. Mainly because I always say this, I'm really happy with my stash and I do have to knit up all the yarn that I have in it. I think if I wouldn't buy any at all, I would still have to work through it for multiple years to get all of it out. But I have been very good with selling some yarn. I have to put up some more to see if other people want it. My Drops Kit Silk has been going away really well. People seem to really like that yarn, so I got rid of almost everything. I do have some like odds bits and bobs here and there still, but maybe I can sell them eventually as well. Just notice you've got a bit of fluff on you. There you go, that might be better. So on that front, it's going really well with getting rid of things that don't bring me joy anymore from my stash. And I wanted to put in more yarn because it does bring me joy. Does that make sense? I am not sure. But like I mentioned, I had a coupon left from my birthday and I was just really worried it not being valid anymore, because I'm not sure if those things have an expiration date. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So I had a €50 coupon that I got from my mum for my birthday 2 years ago, and I bought some Knitting for Olive from an Austrian seller. She's like one of the few that sells Knitting for Olive, Kama Rosa, those type of yarns. and I had some money left over, so I thought I would buy this yarn. This is Knitting for Olive Merino in the color Dark Moose. I didn't expect this color, to be honest. It's a browny grayish yarn. It's almost like the Filcolana Peruvian Highland wool from my sweater color wise. I just noticed that. I was trying to find something to compare it with, but I think that is the closest I can do. It's a really nice yarn. I have multiple colors of this yarn in my stash. I just haven't gotten around to working with it because, to me, especially with the price point on it, it is such a special yarn that I don't just want it to be in any project. I want the perfect project, and that might be the wrong mindset, because who knows if there will ever be the perfect project, or if I'm just waiting for nothing. So I bought 3 of this as well. I do have a pattern in mind. I just forgotten it because I just have so many thoughts floating around at the moment. I might have to insert it. I do have a pattern in mind, and we'll see if I will stick to this, because I always say this with Knitting for Olive. I have a pattern and then I never actually make it. So yeah, that is the first purchase. Technically I only had to spend, I think, about 10 euros or something to cover the costs, because like I said, 50 euros were already covered by the coupon. So that is a steal, in my opinion, for 6 balls of Knitting for Olive. And then I wanted to check out another yarn shop. I didn't plan on buying anything, let's get that out there. I didn't plan on buying any yarn at all. I just wanted to see if that shop had some yarn in general. The yarn, the shop in question is called Laniato. Here is the logo, right here. And Laniato is a wool cafe here in Vienna. I think I'm gonna make a video in the future where I go to yarn shops in Vienna, so you can also check some out when you visit. I've gotten this question a few times now, where I would go, where the best shops are, so I think that could be really beneficial. Anyways, Laniato, I didn't want to go into the city centre, because it's in the city centre of Vienna, this yarn shop, and I didn't want to do it. And this is part of a bigger like commercial, what's it called, chain. And the chain itself actually sells flowers and garden plants and garden things, so it's a gardening center, but they have a small section of wool. Don't really know why those two would go together. That is very unusual. We don't do these things here in Austria like you do them in England, where you have one like supermarket, but it has everything you could ever imagine in it. We don't do that here. We have a separate shop for separate things. So I wanted to see if this chain, this location had the yarn as well, and it did. So here we are with more yarn. This is their own range. It's Merino 125. I don't know the color number 2. It's an off-white once again. This has a gauge of 19 stitches, so it's an Aran weight or worsted weight yarn. I never remember what the difference between Aran and worsted is, because they are so similar, but it's a thicker yarn. It's not DK, it's thicker. The recommended needle size is 4.5 to 5. I bought 11 of this because I thought it would be perfect for the Dagmar jacket by Petiteknit. I mentioned I wanted this, I wanted to make this pattern before. It's also in one of my pattern making videos, like my Make 9 for 2025. You can check that video out if you want to. So I wanted an off-white colour, and I found this yarn and I thought it was perfect. Also, it was quite cheap. It was under €5, I think €4.50, and for a soft merino yarn like this, you really can't beat the price point. Also because it's a local yarn and they had loads of different colours, so I went for this one. Then what also caught my eye is this yarn. This is Lana Grossa Sophie Shawl, and it is a 60% merino superfine, 30% cotton and 10% cashmere. It is incredibly soft. It is softer than, I would say it's almost softer than the Kid Silk, or like the Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair, probably because of the cashmere. But I thought the yarn composition was just really interesting, because I've never seen any yarn that had wool, cotton and cashmere all in one. So I got this in the colour number 14. It's a light grey. I have 5 balls of this. The gauge is pretty thick, from what I can tell. I mean, on the label it says 29 stitches for 10 centimeters and 3.5 to 4 millimeter needle. But just like with any like mohair or yarn to hold with, it seems to be very fluffy and bulking out the stitches once you use it. So I'm not sure if I would put this in the 29 stitch gauge in the fine like lace weight category. I have no idea what I'm gonna make with this. I was just very intrigued. I do want to hold this with something. I don't think I want to have this as a project, as a fluffy project on its own, but you never know, and that's the beauty of having also yarn that you don't have anything accounted for, because then you can shop in your own stash, and when a new pattern comes out that catches your eye and you have the right colour that you wanted in, you can just use it. So that's the second thing. Like I said, it was an expensive trip for that yarn shop. And then the last one, and that is the first yarn that I grabbed. It is a sock yarn. Sue me, I am turning into a sock person. I might even start enjoying working on socks. We'll have to see with the next pair. But I thought it was just so beautiful that I could not pass up on this opportunity. This is Lana Grossa Meilenweit, and the yarn is called Monte. It's got aloe vera in it. This is the label. I worked with a yarn before that has aloe vera in it. It is softer than the normal pure wool ones, and it's 80% wool and 20% polyamide. You can of course wash this yarn, and the colour is 7021. It's really beautiful. It's got some off-white bits, it's got some brown speckles, some purple bits, some pink bits. It's a really nice yarn. This will be my next sock project. I just wanted to show you the yarn before I started using it. And maybe I also was influenced when I got this yarn because it was Valentine's Day, or just after Valentine's Day, that I thought this was just so beautiful that I could not pass up on this opportunity. I'm really interested in how the stripes are going to be from this little picture. I don't know if you will be able to see, but from this little picture it looks to be that you have some stripes and then some like bit weirder sections where you have slashes. I don't know if I will like this, but I just thought the colours were so nice that I just wanted to try it. And price wise also it wasn't breaking the bank for a sock yarn. So we'll see, maybe next time you will see another pair of socks that I'm making with this yarn. And then the big acquisition, speaking of sock yarn, I bought a bunch of different colours for sock yarn. I have a few reasons for this, but the biggest one is because I want to make colour work socks this year. I want to try it, and I just don't have any colours basically in my stash apart from black, white, red and grey. Maybe a brown is in there as well, but I don't have full balls because I've used these yarns before. I also didn't love working with that yarn specifically. I wanted to try something new, and Drops had a sale going on all throughout November. What am I saying? November? February, sorry. So I bought some Drops Fable. Drops Fable is a sock yarn, and it's 75% wool, 25% polyamide. You get 205 meters in it, and I wanted to try Fable specifically, so I was debating between Drops Nord and Drops Fable. But Drops Nord has got some alpaca in it, and I didn't know how well it would hold up with that content, so I would rather stick to something that I know and that I trust, which is a sock yarn with purely polyamide and wool in it, because I know that just works. So I got a bunch of colours. Let me see if I can... Truly a bunch of colours. I'm going to go through them one by one. This is colour 111. It's a nice mustard colour. Then we have this really nice rusty orange, which is 110. A nice reddish colour, 113. A pink yarn, 102. Purple, 104. Light blue, 117. Teal colour, 103. A dark navy blue, 107. This really bright green, 112. And some black yarn, which is 400. So now I have a bunch of colours to choose from my next socks. Like I said, I wanted to make some really fun colour work socks also to try it. And I just wanted a really good selection in colours. This green is a little bit too bright for my liking, but maybe it works out really well. The colour selection is pretty good, I have to say. I just wish there were a few more in terms of for variety. Especially with the green, I only could choose this really bright apple green, but I really wanted a dark green as well, so I wasn't able to get that. Also the yellow is a bit too mustardy for what I wanted in the yellow, but apart from those things, and like the red is a little bit too Merlot like, and what do you say to this colour? I have it on the tip of my tongue and I can't remember, but you know what I mean. It's like a wine red, that's what it is. It's a wine red which is bordering on the pinker side instead of like the more orangey side. But I'm not too fussed about this one because I know I have some really bright red yarn in my stash already. So I wanted to go for something that I don't already have and that I can just make really fun socks. So that's why I bought all of this. And with the discount, it did help a lot, because it was only I think €1.75 or something for one ball, and that's just an absolute steal, especially for 205 meters. I don't know how many grams that is. 50 grams. So yeah, a bunch of new yarn, really happy with it. I don't think I will, I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't think I will buy any more yarn, but I just haven't gotten around to going to any yarn shops. So when I have the opportunity, I'm pretty sure I will buy more yarn, which is a problem, I know, but we'll see what the next few months hold, especially with it getting warmer. Right, that was all of my yarn. Just a little update on the sweater number 9 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I tried blocking that sweater. I finished it in the last episode and it was just way too short. I blocked the heck out of it. I really stretched it to its max and it's still shrinking up, so I think what I have to do is I'm gonna have to cut off the cuff bit and add length and then graft it back together. I think that is the only option because I don't want to make this ribbing section again. It was such a pain last time, so I think that's my only option. I'm gonna see how I like it now that the sleeves are not as short anymore. For comparison, it was about this length when standing, and or maybe even a bit further back, and now I blocked it to about here, so my wrist is still exposed, it still rides up, and I just don't like that. So we'll have to see what I'm gonna do with it. So that was all of my knitting. I don't know what next project I want to work on. I'm a little bit overwhelmed once again because there are so many things I want to start, but at the same time I don't want to do anything at all because I think I have to finish what I already have on the needle. So it's again a limbo, and then in between we'll see. I will start with some socks to just start something and see how that goes, especially with how close I'm to finishing my Sophie Shawl. Also, I had a lot of reading time lately, and I finished the Chestnut Spring, I think that's what it's called, series. That's the word. Those were 5 books. I read that in a week. It's by Elsie Silver. I really like those type of romance books, so if you're interested, I'm gonna talk a little bit about that now. I have to say, I was expecting a little bit more out of the books. I wasn't the biggest fan. I liked the themes in it. I also liked the writing style. But I have to say my favorite book was Hopeless, which is the last one out of the whole series. I liked the last 2 the best, which is a little bit of a shame because from a series, if the first book doesn't like grab my attention intensely, then I'm kind of losing interest. But I've had these books for so long that I thought I will just read them all and maybe it will get better. I have, you know, nothing bad against them. They were just okay. They weren't, like, for me, they weren't the best books ever. It was just an okay series, which is a little bit of a shame because I had such high hopes with all of the fuss everyone made about this collection. And then I also finished, just last night actually, I finished The Final Offer by Lauren Asher. This is the Dreamland Billionaires series. I read the first 2, which is the fine print and terms and conditions. I read these a few years ago and I really enjoyed them, both of them. And then I just kind of lost interest in them, also because I didn't really like the themes for the last one. And the last book, it's a hefty one. The other ones are way thinner. This one had over 550 pages. It wasn't it wasn't a quick read, I have to say. I also got really annoyed halfway through, so I kind of just powered through it. And again, it was an okay book. I wouldn't recommend it necessarily. I enjoyed the first two. I think that's a bit of a controversy because the first two are the ones where people say they didn't enjoy it as much. But I know Lauren Asher, she has some great books. She's a great author. I have some other books from her, so I think that was just a little bit of a miss for me. So that was on my reading. I will get to some other books soon, hopefully. And if you're interested in everything else that I read, let me know in the comments down below, and then I can start including those into my videos. Anyways, I hope you have a good day, week, weekend, whenever you're gonna watch this. Like and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this content. Also check out my other videos. I have some really fun ones up there now over the past few weeks, which I filmed and uploaded. And let me know what you're working on right now in the comments below, and I'm gonna see you next time. Bye!